We go 3, 2, and 1. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool.
On a Tuesday, not a normal Friday, because we have a little bit different schedule this week.
Kind of like a Friday for some people.
Yep, that's right.
You know, kind of doing the short week thing here, Thanksgiving week.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanksgiving right around the corner, 2 days away. So I know we talked about it last week off the air, Sean, but I think we both have kind of plans here. No travel involved.
No travel for us. We're staying. This is actually our first time as an empty nester. Sydney's going off with her boyfriend. Dustin's in his part of the country doing his thing. So we're staying put. So
good. Be interesting.
New experience.
Empty nesters. I can imagine. I can only imagine what that's like.
Yeah. So, and we don't yet know how to make smaller meals. So we'll see how that.
Oh yeah.
How that works out. It's gonna be a lot of leftovers, I think.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
A few turkey sandwiches.
Yeah.
That stuff's so good warmed up too.
I know, right?
All the dressing and the turkey and the sweet potato casserole. I mean, you don't have to warm that up.
No.
That's just good as it is. Just
throw it on a sandwich or whatever.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm excited for our topic today.
I am too. I love this.
And for those listening, do not skip the drink. I'm throwing a curveball today on the beverages. And there's some marketing lessons in it too. So I want to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, since you just teased it, our topic today is we're going to be talking about how to win more business at higher prices. Selling on value. We have a great guest joining us today. I'm excited. He's authored a couple of books. He's got one in the works, and he's going to be joining. I think he's in the green room. So
yes,
he's got a beverage. He's going to be toasting with us today. So I'm excited.
All right. Should we just go ahead and bring him in?
We should.
Since that's how we do things, kind of casual around here.
Casually speaking, we will bring him up from the green room. All right. Mark is awaiting patiently. How you doing, Mark? Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I don't normally drink at 1:30 in the afternoon, but hey, let's go for it.
Hey.
What? Okay. So my question is, why not?
Yeah. Too much work to do.
That's right. I understand. Well, that's why we email back and forth. And I said, feel free to we've had some guests bring on a water, Powerade. I mean, you name it, they'll bring on anything. Some people just for whatever reason, location, or they just don't indulge in a little cocktail. Typically we do this at 4:30 on a Friday where it really is happy hour, for us.
3:30 my time.
Well, 3:30. Yeah. 3:30 for Sean. Cause
I'm my boss. So he's okay.
That's right. But it's Friday.
On a Friday, you can start drinking anytime.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, this is a quasi Friday, depending on how your week is structured this week, since it is Thanksgiving week. So
that's right.
Depending on how aggressive you are in that extending the 4-day weekend to a 5-6 day weekend. So Mark, what do you have?
Oh, go ahead. You were going to say, Sean?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Mark if you had a beverage there. Or...
I do. I'm drinking one of my favorites.
And that is?
It's called Tectonic.
Tectonic.
Okay. Tectonic.
Double IPA from Great Basin. That's a local brewery here in Reno.
Okay.
All right.
Double
Did you want
IPA.
Did you want me to read the label for you?
You can give as much or as little information as you want. A double IPA, that's a pretty stiff drink for somebody who doesn't drink at 3:30 on a Tuesday.
Well, I think the only thing that really matters is it's 8.7% alcohol by volume.
Yeah.
And it's a full pint.
There you go.
That's right in our category. That's it. That's in our wheelhouse right there. 8.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we like
it. All right. Were you going to say something else, Jonathan, before we started the beverages?
Yeah. So I wanted to introduce Mark to our listeners. So we have Mark. I want to ask you, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Stiving?
Yep. Perfect.
I nailed that, right?
You did.
I nailed it the first time. So we have Mark Stiving joining us on the show. He's as we mentioned before Mark joins us, he's authored a couple of books. He has a great website over at Impact Pricing. He's a PhD, MBA, and is a widely recognized pricing expert and marketing pro who teaches companies how to boost revenues and realize their true value. He has over 25 years of experience in price segmentation, pricing products, portfolios, visionary pricing. And so we're going to dig into, I love this topic. It's one of my favorites, being in having a background in sales. Sean also in sales, copywriting, selling value and not competing on price is the only way to win, in my opinion. So we're happy to have you on today.
Well, thanks. That'll be the woohoo, woohoo.
Yeah, we do that here.
That's right. Exactly.
I didn't even see the audience. That was really good.
They're out there.
Yeah, they're out there.
All right. So now you can introduce, we can talk about our bet. Well, you've actually already introduced yours there.
Yeah, I screwed that up. Sorry. I was getting excited about my beverage.
Look at that. Hold that up, Mark. Let's see.
That's pretty. It's a nice
beautiful
dark
color.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful color. Oh man. All right, Sean, what do you got?
All right.
You got the surprise. So maybe I should, maybe
you go first.
Okay, all right.
Because mine's got a little bit of a marketing lesson attached that I think we can segue to Mark's topic. So
okay, good. All right, so I've got a straight out of Terrapin, from our one of our favorite locations down in Georgia, place Athens, Georgia, famous for I think a football team, I believe, an important football team. But this is a Terrapin chocolate milk stout. It is called let's see, let me hold it up. It is called a Moohoo. Moohoo. Moohoo chocolate milk stout. All right.
Very nice.
So this is uses a generous amount of lactose sugar along with cocoa nibs from Olive and Sinclair Chocolate Company. So I'm assuming this is probably a local chocolate company that's down close to the Athens area. And they have let's see, malts, 2-row flaked oats, crystal chocolate, crystal 85, whatever that is, chocolate and roasted barley, Olive and Sinclair cocoa nibs. I'm gonna have to do a little checking in on Olive and Sinclair. Probably
crystal
one of these
85, whatever that is.
Yes. That's a secret ingredient right there.
It's a brand name for sugar, probably, is all that is.
Now I almost grabbed, they had a 4-pack. They also had a 4-pack of a similar, but they had the pretzel, which I might have to grab next time. It's a chocolate and pretzel milk stout. Sounded really interesting, but I stayed on the safe side and
I could see that working. I mean, the wheat and the pretzel or whatever pretzels are made of. I don't know exactly, to be honest, but
it's wheat.
Seems like that would be a fit, right?
So here we go. Look at this. I got a shot glass today.
I was gonna say, is that a measuring cup or what is that? Looks like
I left my beer glass. I'm at the office. Forgot that today. So I generally keep a set of espresso cups over in the.
It looks like you do.
So it actually does look like a cup of espresso, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you're doing ads for Nespresso now. Took Clooney's job from him.
That's right.
I like it. Talk about expensive coffee. So.
No doubt, man.
All right. So I was watching CBS Sunday Morning, which I do every week. It's one of my Sunday kind of rituals.
Okay.
Because I love the variety of stuff they cover on there. And on the show was T-Pain, the rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And he has launched a new cocktail book.
Okay.
And it has like 50 different cocktails in it. And these are extravagant cocktails. I mean, one of them takes 48 hours to make because you have to make a homemade cinnamon syrup and it has to keep being. I don't even know how you would do it. But I found one in there and it was actually the one they previewed on the show. And it's called a 5 o'clock. And I'll share it real quick. And it's part bourbon, part Goldschlager liquor, which is a cinnamon liqueur, ice cream, and stout beer.
Ooh, yum.
Now, Jonathan, I don't know what else we could put in there that would not be more indicative of the stuff we do on this show. So I thought I would make it real quick.
You had me at bourbon.
Yeah.
You just
So you take a glass.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Put 2 scoops of ice cream in it, right? Then I've got some, I didn't use the fistful of bourbon. I used the striker.
Okay.
It's interesting. I was going through his book and some of the things. Every recipe had a brand name in it. So I don't know if he gets like a marketing cut from that or whatever, but it's interesting that every single thing had at least one, if not 2 brand names in the recipe.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that, you pour it right over the top of the ice cream.
Nice little.
And then you take Goldschlager. So my daughter's 21, so she's kind of finding out about a lot of this stuff, you know. And I showed her this, and it has the gold flakes in it.
Oh wow! Look at that.
These are like real. It says on the label, real
gold flakes.
Real gold flakes, right?
There you go.
So you do like a shot of bourbon and like half a shot of the Schlager. Pour that over the top, and then you finish it. Well, not finish it, but then you pour in I've got a Russian Imperial Stout, which I've had on the show before, the Commissar.
Mark and I will be finished with our beers before you
I know, but
mix this thing up.
We get a break to go get another beer? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's the thing. It basically turns into a root beer float.
Oh, very nice.
For adults.
An adult
root beer float. And it kind of tastes like that too. So
does it?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a kind of a root beer float taste.
Now, I'm just curious, what are those gold flakes?
Gold flakes.
No, they're not real gold flakes, are they?
Yeah, they are.
How much was that bottle?
It was only like $20 for the bottle.
Okay. All right.
It's a small bottle. So anyway, yeah, that's it. So, but I here's a good example of somebody taking, their songs. He's got a song called Bartender, and every recipe is named after one of his songs.
Yeah.
So that's just a great example of remarketing, and the book's selling
absolutely
on Amazon for $20 or $30, $20, I think, which is pretty good for a recipe.
Good for him. Yeah.
So
I love that.
All right. Well,
way to repurpose. Yeah. Cheers.
You're supposed to put like whipped cream and even more gold flakes on, but I knew y'all'd get impatient.
No, we've already started, but it looks delicious.
It is delicious.
Is that your first time? You've already had one, I can tell.
I had to test run it last night.
Okay. All right.
Yes. It's good. And you just kind of keep adding the stout to it as you go. So
excellent. Send me, can you send me that link to that book?
Yeah.
Because we always like to try some stuff on the weekends.
Yeah, I'll
try some new concoctions.
There's a picture of it real quick.
Okay.
Can I fix you a drink from T-Pain?
Oh, very cool.
All right, Mark. Very good. Sorry you had to sit through that, Mark. But
no worries. It makes me thirsty.
Yeah, I'll be over here sipping on my 5 o'clock here. A little bit of, I mean, it really is interesting. It's like a strong root beer. Oh, we got to give our ratings.
Oh yeah. We do a 1 to 5 pints to wrap it up. So on a review, 5 pints being the ultimate, the best. We don't have too many. Seldom do we get a 5-pinter on this show, Mark. So we're going to start with you on a scale of 1 to 5 pints, and you can go, 3 point whatever, 2 point whatever. You don't have to be exact on your rating.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go 4.79.
Ooh,
I like that. The pricing guy ends in 9. I like that. Who saw that?
There's a story there.
That's right.
I would have gone 4.99, but you thought, I can't really get up that close to 5, so we'll go 4.79.
Oh, okay. I like a little tease of what's coming up in the episode. I like that. Foreshadowing. That would be a foreshadow.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, Jonathan.
So I love this. I'm going to give this, I'm going to come close to Mark. I'm going to go 4. I'm going to go 4.6. Probably I'm not going to go as far as him, but I'll go 4.6. This is really good. I love the, it's not too sweet. I love the cocoa mix. Just a good balance. So, and it's got some good notes to it. So
very nice. Well, I'm going to give mine, I'm gonna have to redo the scale because it's like mixed drink scale instead of just beer scale, right? So as far as mixed drinks go, I'd give this like a 3.7. It's fun, it's interesting, but it's not one of those mixed drinks where it just tastes like you're not even drinking a drink. You can definitely tell the alcohol and the punch of it is there for sure. So some people may not like that. I think it's pretty good, but it's not like the best mixed drink I've ever had.
Well, you didn't use you kind of deviated a little bit on your recipe.
Well, I skipped out on the whipped cream on top. That's about it.
But you didn't use bourbon though. You used what did you use?
It was bourbon.
Oh, it was okay. Yeah. I thought you used something different. Okay.
Yeah, I used a different brand, but shouldn't make
gotcha.
It. So I give it a 3.7.
All right.
All righty.
Not bad. All right. Well, Mark, thanks for joining us. We're finally getting into the topic at hand. So before we begin, why don't, as we ask all of our guests, share a little bit about your background, because we want to, obviously we're going to be getting into the topic of selling value, how to price yourself in such a way that you're not competing, you're not commoditizing yourself or your product. But we want to learn more about you first before we get into the topic and some of the books that you've done. You're also working on a book, I think, from my understanding, and we'll talk about that. But start with yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, let's start with the fact that I think I was probably 12 years old, and I remember going to the store with my mom, and I would see prices that ended in 9, right? 79, 99. And I always wondered, why do companies do that? Do they think we're stupid? Right? I mean, we know 99 is $1. What's the big deal?
Right.
So, 15, 20 years later, I found myself in a doctoral program at UC Berkeley. And I have a chance to play with scanner panel data. Now, this is the data that grocery stores collect when you use your loyalty card at the store. And so we know so much about the purchase you made. We know what you paid for it. Was there an end-aisle display? What the competitors were charging at the time? And so I was able to statistically figure out, does this 9-cent thing even work?
Yeah.
And it turns out it really does. A really fascinating reason. It works because we are lazy subtractors. And maybe we can get into that sometime in the show if you want to.
Yeah.
But I became addicted to trying to understand how people use prices to make decisions. And it turns out there's 2 big sides to the story. There's the side that's the 99-cent side. We'll call that psychological, or you might think of behavioral economics, the Dan Ariely book, Predictably Irrational.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about that. And then there's the other side, which I spend much more of my time on, which is called value. And value is the logical decisions, right? Is this really where I should be spending my money or not spending my money? And so I've been a professor teaching, creating pricing courses and teaching pricing. I've started and sold 3 different businesses. And I'm just addicted to pricing. I love the topic. I love helping companies with it.
I have so many questions, but we'll let them unravel. We'll let them unravel. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
So you said something, or you mentioned something that's interesting. It piques my interest. People are naturally lazy when it comes to subtraction. Dig into that a little bit, because I'm of the same opinion. We talk about it all the time. I don't know. One of my favorite books is Thinking Fast and Slow. I don't know if that's and it's amazing that when you start digging in, people really are irrational, and people are also they tend to gravitate towards the path of least resistance, so to speak. So, but I want you to mention or talk about what that means from being lazy when it comes to subtraction.
Yeah, so lazy is kind of an insult, and I don't mean that to be an insult by any means, right? So if you think of the book Thinking Fast and Slow, what they're really saying is, look, we sometimes use these heuristics. We make these decisions really quickly, and then sometimes we spend a lot of time thinking about the problem, right? What's the right solution?
Yeah.
So if you're looking at 2 prices, right, you're trying to decide, do I want to buy product A or product B, and you look at the 2 prices, what you do is you subtract the 2 prices. But if it's easy to do the subtraction, then we do it. And if it's hard to do the subtraction, we use a heuristic. And the heuristic we use is, let's just subtract the left-hand digits.
Yeah.
And if we just subtract the left-hand digits, we're probably pretty close. And in truth, we probably are pretty close. Well, if you knew that nobody was ever going to use your right-hand digits, doesn't it make sense to make them 9s?
Yeah.
Because it's just free money.
Yeah.
Right.
And now think about the gas stations, right? They have 9/10 of a cent per gallon on that right-hand digit. When's the last time you looked at that 9/10 of a cent and said, no, I'm not going to go there because it's 9/10 of a cent?
Sure. Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, we
with
don't
these
even think about it. Right.
Yeah. Most of the time, the heuristics don't make us make mistakes.
Sure.
But sometimes we as business people, when we understand the way our customers, our buyers are making decisions, we can take advantage of those things. And there's a big behavioral economics technique that I take advantage of all the time, even in the value side of the world, and that's building good, better, best products. We build good, better, best because it's delivering different amounts of value to different customers, but it works really well because customers don't know how to make a decision, and so they almost always choose the one in the middle.
Sure.
Yes, I think Jonathan and I have both done plenty of in-person sales presentations on a legal pad where we led them to the middle option. I mean, I was taught when I was selling insurance, long-term care insurance, life insurance, long time ago, we always ended our presentation with 3 options, and the middle was always the most attractive.
Yeah.
But every once in a while you'd sell one of the high end and you'd save a sale with one of the low ends.
Yep.
Yeah.
So totally.
And so let me tell you why that works, if I may, real quickly.
Sure.
This is a behavioral economics thing where people hate losses, right? We don't want to make a mistake. We hate losses way more than we hate an equivalent size gain, way more than we like an equivalent size gain. And so if I bought the least expensive one, I might be making a mistake. It might not be good enough.
Right.
If I buy the most expensive one, I might be making a mistake. I might be wasting money. So if I buy the one in the middle, I'm least likely to be making a mistake. Therefore, it's safe for me.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's kind of like getting 3 quotes from a contractor to do work, and you kind of take the one in the middle, that kind of thing. I guess it's the same.
Absolutely right.
There's risk on either end, but there's a safe spot, in the middle.
Theoretically.
And yeah. Well, yeah, from our from our rationale.
I guess heuristically, that would be the better way to say that, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
All things being equal, the middle things. And that's interesting that you mentioned that now, Mike or Mark, because like we always buy the large drink, not always, but a lot of people buy the large drink. Did we lose you?
Uh-oh.
He's muted. You're muted,
Nope.
Mark.
Yeah, he must have accidentally. There we go.
Did we lose you? Can you still hear us?
I can hear you now.
Yep.
Okay.
He's back up.
All right. So yeah, I was going to say that, that's interesting you say that at the middle, but then like when you go, to convenience stores and buy a drink and they've got the values sizes that usually tend to go towards the large. Maybe not anymore. I think maybe they have adjusted the size so you end up in the middle now that I talk it out.
Well, so let's talk about that for a second, because there's a different effect that does the opposite of what we just discussed.
Okay.
And that effect is called the decoy effect.
Okay.
And so the decoy effect often happens when, if I give you 3 choices, one is really inexpensive, one is a lot more expensive, and then the next one is just slightly more expensive, or or not quite more expensive, or the same price with a little bit more features. What it does is it says to you, oh, the decision is easy, buy the best.
Sure.
And you feel like you're less likely to make a mistake making that decision, and so you make that decision.
Yeah.
Okay. So on a fountain drink, it's 69 cents for the small, 99 for the medium, and $1.09 for the large. So the difference between the medium and large is so small that you pick the large. Is that what I'm?
Absolutely right.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and they're notorious. You go to a movie theater, and they already hit you like for $15 for a popcorn and a drink, and you're coming away with $20 hit just on that alone. But they always say that. You think about it, they always say, it's, you ask for a medium drink, and they always say, for just a little bit more,
$1 more, $3 more, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, you're already spending a fortune for concessions, which is insane. But yeah, just for this much more. I mean, come on, it just makes sense. Insane. And then you start to say, it kind of does.
Okay. Do you guys mind that I toss out random pricing lessons as we go through these examples?
No, please do.
Yeah, it's very casual around here. It's just three guys talking shop. So
yeah,
I have one that I have to ask at some point, so I'll make sure we get it in. I won't forget.
I want to talk about pricing at the movie theater for a second.
Okay. Great.
So it turns out,
segue.
It really is. A movie theater, by contract, gets to keep 10% of the ticket price.
Mm-hmm.
So if they raise the price $1, they get to keep 10 cents.
Okay.
So it makes very little sense for them to raise prices. They want low prices at the movie theater to get you to come in, because then when you buy, $5 popcorn, that costs them 20 cents.
Yep.
Right.
So a movie theater exists to sell popcorn.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
So great pricing lesson.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you think about that. That's a lot of investment to sell fairly commoditized stuff, but they figured out a way to take a commodity, Coke and popcorn, and wrap it.
But you pay next to nothing when you go to the grocery store, right?
Right.
You
or
buy
anywhere else.
6-pack or 6-pack of cola or whatever. And then, your microwave popcorn costs you, $6,
Yeah. But like you package it with the movie and all of a sudden the value, even though you paid separately for the movie, is through the roof. I mean, right. And because it's experience and everything else that you're paying for, right? Not just the popcorn.
Okay.
I'm on the right track, Mark?
You are, but now it's almost time for the most important lesson in pricing.
Okay.
If I may.
Yeah.
Sure. But first, before I give you the most important lesson, I just want to toss out. You do know you can get free popcorn at Ace Hardware? Just pointing that out.
Yes.
Right?
All right. That is I'm making a note of that one.
I didn't realize that was all Ace Hardware. So I knew the one that when I used to live in Knoxville.
All right. O'Reilly's, forget. I'm never going to O'Reilly's again. Ever. Forget it.
Okay. Single most important lesson, and we're going to bring this back to popcorn in just a second, is when buyers are making purchase decisions, we almost always make two different decisions. The first decision we make is, will I? So will I buy something in this product category? Mm-hmm. And then the second decision is, which one?
Okay.
Which one am I going to go buy? So think about buying a new car, right? If you're in the market for a new car, what you're going to do is you're going to go figure out, well, which car should I go buy, right? What makes a big deal or big difference to me? If you're not in the market to buy a new car, you're not out shopping, you're not looking at the which ones. Now, here's a really interesting question. If you're not in the market for a new car, and I tell you Lexus is on sale 20% off, does that change your mind? Probably not, because
if you're not in the market, no. Right.
Okay, so now you're looking at three different cars. You're looking at Audi and Lexus and Mercedes or whoever, BMW. We'll do BMW instead. Audi, Lexus, BMW, and you find that the Lexus is 20% off this weekend. Mm-hmm. Does that get you interested?
Yeah, it's in the same category of cars, even though it's not in the initial list. So it's like it might sway me to look when I wouldn't have looked.
Yeah. And so the key point here is that when people are making a which one decision, so I'm trying to decide, do I want to buy this car or that car, this can of beans or that can of beans?
Sure.
Right. When I'm making a which one decision, price is really important. Right. In fact, what I'm looking at is which one's more expensive. How much more expensive is it? Is it worth it?
Yeah.
And now we're starting to look at the feature differences or the differentiation between the two products. But here's the really cool lesson. There are a lot of products and situations where people never make a which one decision. They only make a will I decision. Mm-hmm. And when people only make a will I decision, price isn't driving that decision.
Okay.
Right? I give you lots of examples.
Yeah.
But the first example is walk in the door of the movie theater and you ask yourself, am I having popcorn today or not?
Right.
But you don't get to say, am I buying popcorn here at the movie theater or am I going to the grocery store to buy popcorn?
Right.
Right. I'm either having it here or not.
Yeah.
So it's a will I decision. There's no competitive alternative. That's why they get away with charging really high prices, because we actually would pay that much for popcorn in other situations if we had to, but we don't have to.
We don't have to. Right. Yeah, we got options, but we don't have options in the theater.
That's exactly.
There's no microwave, right? I mean,
so let's do some other examples of will I, though, because this is such an important concept. Gas stations are typically almost always which one type products, right? So you've got a gas station on every corner, and if one's out of whack price wise, you're not going there by any means. But what if you're driving out in the middle of nowhere and you see the sign that says last gas 75 miles and you pull off and that gas station is 3 times the price of what it is in town?
Sure.
Right. You're like, okay, I guess I need gas. I'm buying gas today.
Right.
And so that's a will I decision that we just made.
Yep.
Yeah. I think a similar decision, is in every town, there's a flow of traffic morning and evening, where it's heavier. And I think that if you're convenience stores, I haven't done any research on this. Maybe you have, Mark, but I would think convenience stores on the morning drive side of traffic probably can get away with higher prices because people are either in a rush, and if they're on empty, they're going to pay whatever just to kind of keep going. But it seems like the convenience of that, even if the one across the street was cheaper, I'm not going to cross traffic. So that feels like one of those will I decisions you're kind of talking about too.
Okay, so first off, I'm not shy to disagree with you, Sean, so I'm going to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what I love about it is what you pointed out isn't a will I decision. It's a how much do I value not having to cross the street to get cheaper gas. Right. So if it was $10 more per gallon on the right, I'm crossing the street. Got to tell you that, right?
Yeah.
But if it's 5 cents, yeah, probably not.
Good point.
So now it's a differentiation question. How much is that differentiation worth? And given what you just said, Sean, I was having this idea as you were talking. I think what we should do is if there's a traffic direction in the morning and in the afternoon, anybody who's on the right-hand side in the morning should raise prices in the morning and lower them in the afternoon. Right, every day, raise and lower prices.
Nobody would complain about gouging or anything in that situation.
Oh heavens, no.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I will agree that your disagree was a good thing. So,
well, I've got a perfect or a related example. So I'm at the local tire store today. It's a tire, maintenance shop, auto shop. I have a truck that needed tires that my son will soon be inheriting, my 16-year-old. Oh, Lord. And he's getting that. So I'm putting a new set of tires on, completely. And, the guy quotes me, here's the price. And, we can get into upsell. Yeah. Cause I mean, this opens up a lot of, opportunities to talk about upsells and things like that. But, when I come in, and this is a place that I frequent, but I don't know a comparison, I'm not a tire expert and haven't had time to do research on, the price comparison or the value comparison between a Michelin and a Goodyear and, what I'm looking for. There's just not enough time. And so when they hit me with the price, and here's the thing, if they had told me, we're going to have to order these, maybe so, because my time right now, time's valuable and I don't have a lot of extra time to spend coming back. So if they had told me, we got to order these, it may be 2 or 3 days. It may have opened up the opportunity to say, you know what, I really need these by next week because he's getting his license and everything. So I may shop around a little bit. He said, they're in stock today. Here's the price. And at the minute when he said the price, I didn't even listen to the price. I said, you got them, go put them on, and so done. Right. Yeah. And then he gives me the upsell, which is obviously it's the roadside warranty, which you don't know what you're getting with. No one knows what they're getting with a roadside warranty. Right. The only question I said was, how much would that be? Right. And he's, threw out another price, which sounded reasonable. It was under $100. It's like, if you're spending that much, Right? Why not?
Yeah. Dave Ramsey would be very upset with you, John.
He would. Dave Ramsey would crucify me on this one.
So what do you hear?
I mean, there's some lessons. There's value, and then there's also upsell. You could upsell. You use value to upsell. Obviously, it sounds good. We're creatures who we try to avoid fear. We think about roadside warranty. If we have a blowout, gosh, what are the ramifications? What's that going to mean? Yeah, I got to get a new tire. So this covers me.
Yeah. So what did you hear, Mark? Because I saw your face light up a few times. Like, what did you hear in Jonathan's story?
I tell you what, taking these stories and then turning them into pricing lessons is just fabulous.
Yeah.
So here's what you just did. First off, you exhibited what I'll call a will I situation.
Yes.
Right? Because tires are probably normally a which one type product. Mm-hmm. Most people go out and say, which tire am I going to buy and what's the price difference? And You're going to shop around. It's a pretty big investment. So it isn't just a spur of the moment type decision. But for you treated it like that. Mm-hmm. So now if you're a salesperson, what you need to be doing is watching for Jonathans walking in your door. and it isn't you per se, but it's people who are not shopping around. Yeah. It's people who are just looking at your product and about to make a decision.
Sure.
You don't have to give them a discount, right? You don't have to, you want to treat everybody well, but you don't have to give them any special breaks because they're going to buy the product. Price isn't driving that decision today. Something else is.
Yeah.
So I like to call that a trust journey. So when our buyers have to go on a journey to figure out what it is they want to buy, what has value to them. And so you went on a trust journey. You trusted this place you went to all the time. You walked in the door. They said, here's the product, here's the price. You said, yes. That's a trust journey.
Absolutely.
Right? You didn't go on to look anywhere else.
No, you're right.
Fabulous.
It's doing business with this company previously, having a great experience and knowing that they offer good value. They're a reputable company, pretty much took that off the table in terms of, should I go elsewhere? Unless, in my mind, not having it in stock because it was a timing thing for me.
Right.
And it's kind of like, Sean and I talk all the time on this thing that he and I are both in Apple's pinball machine where they just bounce us around and we spend money every time because, we've been using the product for so long and they could hit us with whatever price and they never discount. They never come down on price. They just say, here's what it is, and you will pay for it. You will pay that when the new update is available or the next one's available. And that's what we do, like suckers every time.
And we buy the ecosystem at this, because we've been in it so long, we buy the ecosystem that everything talks to each other.
Yep.
Yeah. And you don't really, so Apple's another great example of a will I product in the sense that you may be thinking right now, do I want to buy the new iPhone or not? But what you're not thinking is, do I want to buy the new iPhone or switch to Android?
Yeah.
Right. So there is no competitive alternative in your mind.
Right.
And so price isn't driving the decision. And so Apple gets away with charging ridiculously high prices and we pay them.
That's right.
So,
because even when I see a cool Galaxy phone or the new flip phones that are out and the new, pretty cool stuff, I'm like, I don't want to have to go back and unsync everything, even though that may be a better product.
And they know that. They know you.
I'm no longer buying for product reasons. Like you said, it's interesting. So I'm curious, Jonathan, was that Discount Tire or is that more of a local shop?
It was a local. Yeah. It's a local place. They've got locations around this area, but it's a local chain.
So Discount Tire does something pretty interesting, Mark. And when you were responding, it made me think of it. So if you ever have a flat tire with Discount Tire, and they're based here in Texas, but they're kind of all over the country now, I think. If you have a flat tire and you go in there with the flat tire, they will repair it. I say, pull in, we'll repair it. And when you go to pay, they're like, oh, there's no charge. And they just give you the flat repair for free. And the first time that happened, that was probably, 10, 12, 13 years ago. And we've been a customer ever since. We don't even shop anywhere else. And I know you talk about lifetime value, so maybe this is a place to talk about lifetime value.
Yeah, it's a great place to start that conversation. What I want to point out, we're going to go back to Jonathan's story. We're going to jump to lifetime value.
Mm-hmm.
It is really important for us as business people to know which products we have that
Mm-hmm.
people tend to only make will-I decisions.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones where they're not price sensitive. You can raise your prices 10% tomorrow and it's not going to change your sales.
Sure.
We also need to figure out how do we recognize or create these will-I situations that you were in, Jonathan, or popcorn at the movie theater is a great example of a will-I situation.
Mm-hmm.
How do we create these situations where a product where normally we would have competition, but in this case we don't? So again, price isn't driving it. Our customers aren't price sensitive. So let's be really careful with that.
Yeah.
And so the next one that you talked about, Jonathan, which I loved, was they sold you the roadside assistance.
Mm-hmm.
You called it an upsell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call it a will-I decision.
Sure.
Because you couldn't buy that anywhere else, right? You were going to buy it from them or nowhere.
That's right.
So where do we find lots of will-I products? We find lots of will-I products in our own upgrades, our own upsells. So if someone's bought into our product line, and then if you've got an Apple iPhone and you want to buy a new charger, guess what? Well, in the old days that was true. Nowadays we can use a USB-C charger, but
yeah.
But we're stuck in their ecosystem, so we're making will-I decisions for their products. And so
Apple's we're talking Apple Care. Do you want Apple Care, right? Because I mean, if you lose your iPhone, if you lose, your laptop or break your laptop, do you want Apple Care? Because it'll cover it.
Yep.
So Mark, I'm curious, so let's say I was in a store. I used to be in retail, like back in college, and it's one of my first sales jobs was retail. When somebody comes in this store like that, is there a question that you can ask that immediately puts them in one of those two categories, so you know kind of which way to go and how to present?
Yes. I'm not sure you want to ask it right away. What I would be, first off, let's talk about the difference between these two sales situations.
Okay.
Right. One is, I'm going to talk about Jonathan. He walks into the tire store. What they need to be talking about is, what are the problems you're trying to solve? Right? What kind of tire are you looking for? Right? Do you want one that's going to last longer, that grips the road tighter, that curves, corners really well? So they're looking for the problems you're trying to solve. And that's answering the will-I question, right? Am I going to buy a new product like this or not?
Yeah.
And then as soon as I know, Jonathan says to me, I'm the tire salesman, and you say to me, I appreciate the help. I got to go look over Discount Tire. Now I'm going to switch my sales conversation from how do I solve your problem to what are the things that we do better, and what are those problems that we solve, right? Oh, we have this roadside assistance program that is unmatched in the marketplace, and it'll take care of your son, and no matter where he gets stuck, we're going to come take care of him.
Sure.
It's like, oh, okay. So now I'm competing against somebody else.
Right.
So the question I don't ever want you to ask is, are you looking at anybody else? Right? Are you considering another option? The question I love is, if you don't buy this, what will you do? The implication is there's nothing else you could buy to solve this problem.
Sure.
Now, if you say, I ask you that question, you say, oh, I'm going to go to Discount Tire. Okay, got it. I just got the information I needed. If you say, oh, I'm not going to do anything, or, I guess we'll just, repair them a few more times, or whatever it is, I'm learning the decision that you're making.
Sure. Yeah.
Did that answer the question, Sean?
Yeah, I think so. That gives me some kind of stuff to work with, but I just wonder if there's like a way to, and I'm thinking both offline and online at the same time. Like if there's a way to funnel people, like a choose your own journey adventure, so that I can put them in the right type of sales sequence. That's what I'm kind of sorting for. And I don't know if that's.
Yeah. So the offline I can do, if you've got a salesperson, someone that's talking, we can do that pretty easy.
Yeah.
The online is tricky, and I haven't thought through that enough. I think the way I would approach that is, if I've got a new enough product category, I would probably only be pitching the will-I. So what are the problems we can help you solve? I'm not going to talk about why my product is better than the competitors or anything like that. I might make sure if I know that I'm differentiated in some ways, I might make sure that I make those big points in terms of what problems I solve. But I'm never going to mention a competitor, let you know there's a competitor. I'm not telling you we're better than the competitors, because as far as I'm concerned, one doesn't exist. Right? It's just me.
Yeah.
And then if I think you're buying something, or if I'm in a product category where, I'm in the CRM business, right? And there's only 7,000 CRM companies out there.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then I probably need to tell you why I'm better than HubSpot and Salesforce.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. Yeah. That reminds me a lot of, I actually had this book pulled out in case it comes up later today, but of the stages of awareness. When you go through the Breakthrough Advertising, Gene Schwartz, when you go through his stuff, he talks about stages of awareness, and we would call that in copy, like the front end offer, the awareness would definitely be more of a, will I buy this?
Yeah.
Kind of a product category. And then which one will I buy is more of a brand type thing.
Yep. That's absolutely right.
Okay, cool. So I'm tracking with you there. Before we jump into lifetime value, I do have one question. I want to get this out in case I forget. So we've talked about 99, as kind of throwaway numbers. So why did Walmart, and maybe you don't know, maybe you do know, go to 88s on everything? Seems like of all the people who would not want to throw away 11 cents, it would be Walmart.
I am going to tell you that I actually don't know the answer to the question. I don't know why 95 or 97 or 99 are different. I know why 99 works. I do know that there are a lot of retailers who use the last digit of the price as an internal indicator to tell them something about the product. For example, if it's a 4, it's on the deepest discount we're ever going to go, and the price is never going to go lower than that. If it's if it's a 9, that's a normal price. That's what we expect. So
okay, so they might go 9, 7, 5, 4 on that last digit, just as a kind of their descending internal code.
Yes, and that's just to tell themselves something about what's going on with the product.
I see.
That makes sense. Yep, that'd be really valuable information to know as a consumer if there was a cheat sheet on that stuff.
Okay, so I think there is a cheat sheet online for Costco.
Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. That's very interesting. There you go. There's some tidbit. Everything you paid for this podcast, people, you just got it back right there. If you're a Costco member. If not, you're out of luck. All right. So let's start talking a little bit about lifetime value, because I think a lot of people have heard about this. So I'm interested to see if you have how you define it, and just kind of your conversation around it, Mark, because probably a lot of our listeners are salespeople, copywriters, online marketers, things like that. So they're pretty familiar with lifetime value. But go ahead and define it however you define it, and then I'll just let you jump off from there.
Well, so the official or formal definition is going to end up being, how much profit do I get from a given customer? Do I expect to get from a given customer over the lifetime of that customer? Okay. Lifetime value is a much more important concept today in the subscription world, in the SaaS world. Right. Because typically what happens is we've got a relatively high customer acquisition cost, and oftentimes we don't even make that money back until we've sold them the product for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Right. And so there's got to be some amount of time frame where we're making back the money from our customers. And so what we're doing typically in the world of SaaS and lifetime value is we're watching how long a cohort stays with us, how many people have churned out in how much time. And there are formulas that you can use to calculate, well, what's the lifetime value of this customer then? Well, what's the lifetime of the customer? I know how much they're going to pay me. I can get to a lifetime value number. And so these are really important metrics that we use as we start to make decisions on, should I ramp up my business? Should I not ramp up my business? Because if our lifetime value is not greater than 3 times our customer acquisition cost, you probably don't want to be ramping sales yet. You want to be tweaking your product, tweaking your marketing techniques, because you really need the churn rate to be down and your customer acquisition cost to be down so that you can get that lifetime value divided by CAC greater than 3. Think of that as a profitability number for a second, right? So how profitable am I as a company? In the old days when we didn't have repetitive sales and I got all my money up front, then I knew if it was profitable or not, right? I sold you the product and I made my money and I got the profit.
Right.
And so we're not going to take 10% deals. We're only going to take 50% deals.
Right.
And so we know what that looks like. In SaaS, that 3-to-1 ratio is a pretty standard ratio for the venture capital firms saying, hey, am I going to invest in your company or not? Or when do I think you should ramp? So that's how I think of customer lifetime value. Now you can actually say it goes beyond that. Once you start saying, I've won a customer, now what I want to do is grow my customer. So my second book I have is called Win, Keep, Grow. And that's one of the most important frameworks for subscription businesses you could ever think of. Most subscriptions know we have to go win new customers. In fact, all businesses have to go win new customers. In subscriptions, we know we have to keep customers. So we don't want them to churn out. We need to make sure we're taking good care of them. They're getting value from our products. But what most subscription companies do really poorly is growing customers. So now that I've won you as a customer.
Yeah, what does that mean? Because when I think growing, I probably think more of acquiring. So I'm curious what you consider growing on the subscription model specifically.
I want you to pay me more money next year than you paid me this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's growing a customer.
Yep.
Right. And so you can do that. There's 4 different ways you can grow a customer. I can raise your prices. So QuickBooks raises my price every single year and I grumble about it and pay it. Right. There's nothing I can do about it. Right. You can have upsell products. So we talked about roadside assistance. That's a great upsell product. But if you've got a good, better, best platform and subscriptions, I'm hoping to win customers at good. And then I've got, as they learn more about my product and work with me, they're going to shift from good to better, better to best. We can cross-sell products. So maybe we come up with different products that are similar but different enough, and we can go out and sell those to our customers. And then the fourth one is magic. The fourth one is called the pricing metric, where we could get them by usage. If I'm charging you, a pricing metric is what am I going to charge you for? What do you pay for? And if I charge you for something that the more value you get from my product, the more money you pay, then my idea is I want you to get more and more value because you pay me more and more money. You're using more of the product. And so there's really 4 ways you can get more from your customers next year than you got this year.
So the usage, I think, is one I've seen, fairly often, where you start with the good, better, best plans, and you've got limits on what you can do with each of those plans, right? So many email subscribers, for instance, or so many website domains attached or whatever. And as you move up, theoretically, as your business establishes and you need more of those things, then you would move up to the higher prices.
Yeah. So one of the things you just pointed out is that we often take usage or the pricing metric and we take tiers of those and stick them into our packaging. Right. So at the good package, you get 100 email addresses. At the better package, you get 1,000 email addresses. At the best package, you get 10,000 email addresses.
Right.
But it turns out I could just sell you email addresses. Right. So right now, Salesforce got this whole SaaS thing started, cloud-based SaaS thing started, and they started with selling you by the users. How many users per month are you going to have? And so almost every company followed that.
And you're talking about like if I'm XYZ company, I'll have so many people inside my company using Salesforce.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
That's
seats,
exactly right.
I think some people call them seats now.
Seats. Yep. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay.
It's now been winnowed down to only about 41% of companies are doing by users. Okay. And the other question is, how else are you going to charge for it, right? What else are you going to charge for? So you could be charging by the email, you could be charging by the click or by the view or by the gigabyte or by the download there's 7,000 things you could choose to charge for. And if you sit back and think really hard about how your customers get value and you structure your pricing so that what they're paying you for is the value piece, then they're happy when they pay you more money because they're getting more value.
Sure.
They're doing exactly what you want them to do.
So let's play a little experiment here. Put you on the spot, Mark. Is that okay?
Go ahead. Let's do it.
All right.
My favorite.
So let's what about Netflix? If they wanted to do kind of a usage play, how might they? What are a couple ways they might do that? Or I guess really any four of. Obviously, they can raise prices. They've done that before. Mm-hmm. So what are some other things a company like Netflix could do? Where right now it's just unlimited, get all this stuff for this price.
So before I answer your question, I want to point out one thing.
Yep.
What Netflix did to Blockbuster was change the pricing metric. Right? Blockbuster used to charge by rental by the day with late fees.
Yes.
And Netflix said, we're going to let you subscribe to 2 DVDs a month and we'll mail them to you.
Right.
Right. So in both cases, you're watching rented movies on your couch, but they changed the pricing metric, which is pretty fascinating.
Yeah. So now I never thought of it like that, but yeah, you're 100% right.
Right. So nowadays they're in the streaming business. So what could they do to change their business? So you already recognize that they could raise prices. Mm-hmm. If we think about the packaging, they actually already do packaging. If you've watched closely, you can see they've got a good, better, best package. Mm-hmm. And the packages have to do with how many simultaneous screens you can have on. Yep. What quality of signal, is it Ultra HD or just HD? And is that it? There might be one more thing.
You can tell I don't pay the Netflix bill.
Yeah. Well,
no, but I do Hulu, and they're similar to that because they give you obviously there's the bottom line Hulu package that you get for $10 a month or something like that. And then, but if you want the live streaming, a lot of the programs that you get on cable, that's the biggest, that's the upper tier, it's $70, $80 a month. So,
so here's Netflix currently. How much does Netflix cost? Smartphone, tablet, smart TV, laptop, streaming device for 1 month's fee from $8.99 to $17.99. So yeah, it doesn't really break it down without giving the email.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's in there like that.
Yeah. It's interesting that you can't find out without giving an email either.
Yeah. Yeah.
That feels a little weird,
but yeah, I mean, my experience with Hulu, so I logged on to Hulu last week and all of a sudden there's a pop-up message that said starting, this date, I think it's next month, it's going to go up another $5 a month or something like that.
Wow.
Just for their streaming service. Mm-hmm. But I'm in one of those situations like you talked about, Mark, is like, what's my, what's my option? Cable, right. Cable, I'm paying $150 a month. Right. So in with Hulu, the reason I love Hulu is you can stream on multiple, devices, platforms at the same time. So it's like, okay, okay. At this point, there's a lot of competition. I think we're seeing so many of these streaming platforms, but it depends on what you're looking for and what you're trying to get. Netflix a little bit different because you're streaming mostly their types of programming and their movies, not so much a lot of the channels you get traditionally on cable TV. So there's a difference there. So, I think what you're up against is you're trying to pull most of us from a consumer standpoint are leaving cable TV. And I think a lot of these streaming platforms that are serving those traditional cable subscribers are saying, welcome aboard, but it's you're going to get a price increase here too. So and it's not as much. You're not paying
this. And I think this is an important type question because, like you said, to grow, you're going to have to do one of these things because acquisition is the most expensive.
Yeah.
Right. So figuring out these other methods is far more cost effective as long as you don't piss off your entire user base.
Right.
And lose 20% of your user base or 30% or whatever it might be.
Yeah. The obvious answer for Netflix and usage is how many minutes are you watching or how many movies you're watching or how many series are you watching. Sure. But they're going to have a challenge with that because all of their competitors are essentially all you can eat. And so you have to pay attention to what my competition is doing as well. and what decisions will my buyers make.
Because it feels like over the last 20 years since AOL, we've actually gone the opposite direction from usage based to unlimited based. So
in
it
a lot of cases,
feels like that'd be a hard trend to reverse.
Yeah.
Once you're kind of going down, once you hit unlimited, it's hard to go back. It's kind of like, I guess that's the equivalent of low price, right?
Right.
Yes. And so let's go to cross sell, right? Okay. So if I were Netflix, what could I cross sell? What if I gave you a subscription for theater popcorn at $10 a month? I ship it to your house.
Right? Okay.
So that's me selling something that's related, but it isn't part of any of the packages.
Like a subscription box of, concession goodies.
Concession goodies, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That could be fun. Be nice to get that. And I could see how you could, the family box, or call it the family box or something like that, where it's family date night once a month. We'll send you the full box.
Sure.
Yep.
For half the price it would cost to go out to a movie.
Yep.
Copyrights itself. Good job, Mark. I love it.
Yeah, that's selling value, right there. It's experience, creating that experience, providing the value of those add-ons, which really aren't that expensive on their end.
Oh, a company like that with that volume, I mean, they could get that stuff so cheap, it'd be
absolutely
unbelievable. And packaging would be the most expensive.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, I know we're running on time. Your alarm went off. I don't know if you have to be somewhere.
We enjoyed it. It's been fun.
Any last thoughts you want to share with the audience? We definitely want to hear about where they can learn more about you. I do have your homepage pulled up, but floor is yours to make any pitches or offers or words of wisdom.
Buy my books. Find me at impactpricing.com.
2 books you have. One is Impact Pricing. You're working on another. Tell us about the book you're working on as well.
Yeah, so the one I'm working on right now is called Selling Value. And the conversation we had today around the trust journey is a big chunk, not a big chunk, but it's a piece of the Selling Value book. It's understanding what's the process our buyers go through as they're learning about what value is, and what could we as a sales organization or even a marketing organization do to give the right value information to our buyers at the right time.
Excellent. You also have another book called, and I'm buying this book, Win, Keep, Grow, How to Price and Package to Accelerate Your Subscription Business. I like that. To all of our listeners who are in the membership business.
And I noticed on your site for an advanced autographed copy, it's an even $45. I feel like that's a whole nother conversation that we don't have time for.
Right.
I like that you have an autographed book and course for $250, but again, an even number. So it's funny that the pricing guy goes with even numbers. There's a whole nother story there.
I'm going to tell you why real quickly. People who buy high quality goods expect to see 0 zeros, and they tend not to be comparing me to other products, right? So usually if you're going to buy one of my products, you're not saying, am I going to buy from Mark or am I going to buy from someone else? You're usually saying, am I going to buy that or not? So the 9s don't really have an impact, and the 0s imply that it's high quality, which of course it is.
Yeah, of course
it is.
Of course it is. That's interesting. So that's what, we don't have time for this, but I know that's what the guy from Apple tried to do with JCPenney and failed miserably.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's a whole, maybe we can have you back on another episode to talk about
that. Yeah. That's a great case study in and of itself right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we just barely scratched the topic of pricing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is a big.
So we're definitely gonna have you back on. Mark's actually coming on my Composites Weekly show tomorrow. I got to send you the link, Mark. But we're going to be talking about pricing during a supply chain crisis, which has been huge, big topic of discussion in our industry right now. So I'm excited to talk to you again tomorrow, Mark. It's going to be fun.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, this has been a blast, and we could talk for hours on this. I'm sure. Keep coming up with new things, and there's so many levels to this. So for now, just get Mark's books.
What's your website, Mark?
Impactpricing.com.
Okay.
And reach out to me on LinkedIn, anybody.
Okay. We'll be posting links too from our show page. And like Sean said, man, this has been fun. We just like scraped the icing off of the cake. I mean, we didn't even take a bite of the cake. We just scraped the icing off. So we got a lot. We need to have you back on. There's a lot of other things we can talk about for sure.
Yeah, we got to figure out what that delectable layer between the cake layers is. We only got the icing. I want to find out what those really good layers of jelly or whatever that is in there. That's what I need to get to. So when your book comes out, we'll have to do it then, maybe.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good, guys. Hey,
take care, Mark. I'll be sending you a link for tomorrow's show here shortly. And but thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good stuff.
Yeah.
That was fun. I love talking pricing.
It's so nuanced. Like there's so much depth to it that you think it's random, but it's totally not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many directions I would want to go with him on that, but like even just the supermarket data that you're on your rewards card and how much data they're using.
Yep.
I always wondered what they did with that data.
Oh yeah.
And apparently they're doing quite a bit with it. I was like, why aren't they doing more with me? I was making it about me because I'm like, they should be sending me. I know sometimes they do specific flyers and things based on what you buy.
Sure.
Like Target does that and some other people, but I think a lot of
it's collecting data.
Those don't do as good of a job as they could, like with the consumer on that information.
Right.
They're obviously using it for themselves behind the scenes on what to put on the shelves and where and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I had no idea it went to that level that they can tell if something was on an end cap at a certain week at a certain day. That's pretty amazing. Impressive.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing. I was thinking about this when we were talking, but I know we didn't have time to dig into it. But think about the times that you, like today, I was in a department store picking up a few things, a few items at Dick's Sporting Goods. And so, and I've gotten this question at not just these types, but several places where they ask you around this time of year, do you want to round up and make it even for this, whatever organization
or whatever. Yeah.
So naturally you're put on the spot, it's like, yeah, go ahead, whatever. Cause you're thinking, if it's, you're paying, $30, $30.76. You're like, whatever. Right. Yeah, go ahead. Just round it up and, take that, 20.
Well, I think that goes, 24 cents.
Yeah, 24 cents.
I think that goes to kind of the laziness he was talking about. It's like, oh, I don't have time to figure out if that's a lot or little.
Right.
I know it's not more than $1. So sure.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're caught in the situation where you're like,
you don't want to hold up the line behind you. Like there's so much other types of pressure on you. Like is this guy going to think I'm a bad person? There's a line behind me. I need to make a quick decision.
And the question's so important too, because it's like, you just want to round this up. It's like, you just want to round this up. Because they, the way they come across is, do you want to make this easy? Can we make this easy on you by taking more of your money? And like, sure. Thanks for making it ezy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I did not think about you taking my last few cents. It's awesome.
So I mean, it's positioning, how they position, how they communicate that is important too. It's just crazy how they get away. I mean, I hate to say get away with it because we're openly just say, yeah, whatever. But there's a lot of psychology at play there, making it easy, making the at the way you ask the question and everything like that is
because you think about that, like, would you just go ahead and round it up? And you're like, sure. As opposed to like sometimes like grocery stores, things like that. They're like, would you like to donate $1 to this?
Yeah. That's it.
It's like, no.
So
it's interesting. That's
Yeah. Asking, would you like to just round it up as opposed to giving, I'm sure if you were to basically, look at that, analyze the
that
data
seems
on
like
that.
something out of Robert Collier letter book or something, like the types of phrases that have been tested. I'm sure there's a book on those types of phrases, for all. I know I've seen some stuff in like fundraising campaigns, and I saw an article recently that was similar to that. Like just the way you phrase stuff really does matter.
Yep. Very powerful. Very powerful.
Anything else before
it's a good one.
Holidays kick in?
Yeah. So got to ask you, favorite holiday food, or not holiday, Thanksgiving food outside of the turkey. What is your favorite thing on the table?
Sweet potato casserole.
Oh yes. That's
hands down. It's got to be loaded. It's got to have the marshmallows on top, the whole bit, like the casserole, not just sweet potatoes. Like it's got to be the sweet potato casserole, a little brown sugar maybe as well. There's a couple different ways to do that. That's probably my favorite side. I will say that the last few years for either Thanksgiving or Christmas, Tamara found a banana pudding recipe from Paula Deen. That is almost like a cheesecake banana pudding. Like it's so it's really thick and dense. Like it's not like runny like pudding. That is out of this world. It's not a cheesecake, but it has that consistency almost.
Yeah.
And it's so good. So that's kind of our go-to dessert now. But how about you?
You took one of mine. It's a sweet potato, but I got to say the probably the squash casserole with the cheese. I don't know if you're a big fan of. I used to hate squash when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
but you get the squash casserole with the cheese in it. Man, I love it.
And some breadcrumbs maybe on top or whatever.
Yep, either breadcrumbs or like
Ritz crackers,
Ritz cracker crumbs, something like that. Yeah,
just get a little extra crunch. Yeah, I was the same way. I hated squash. We had our own garden growing up.
Yeah.
And we had squash and all the vegetables. Like we had a huge garden.
Yep.
Way too big for 4 people. Way too big. I remember spending all day Saturday.
It sounds like my parents. Like, I have a huge garden.
Yeah.
So we can give a lot away.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know how big that thing, because everything looks bigger when you're younger.
Sure.
Like if I went back today, I don't know how big the actual plot of land would be, but we were on 10 acres.
Yeah. Oh,
so it wasn't like we were stuffing it in. Like it was It was a big piece of the yard close to the house. And I remember being out there like all day Saturday, either picking or snapping the snap peas or whatever. And that didn't count the
cucumbers off the vine. Pulling those cucumbers off.
Corn had its own field. Yep. Squash. Oh yeah. Mostly squashes, turnip greens, all that stuff. Oh man.
I remember my dad would pay me a penny a corn stalk at the end of garden season, harvest season, when those corn stalks were just dried and left over. Of course, you have to pull those up. Yeah. So I was the guy that pulled up the corn stalks. So he paid me a penny a corn stalk, which is probably, I think I estimated I made about $5. So it's about 500 corn stalks.
Oh, wow.
But man, I thought it was a lot of money when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Amazing what inflation and time will do.
Yeah. And ignorance.
All right.
Yeah. All right, man.
Well, good stuff to all of our listeners out there. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And Sean, it's been fun. Enjoy the time. Enjoy the smaller venue this year, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's it'll be interesting. So
yeah. Should be fun.
Not as much food.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, your daughter's she's out hunting. She's getting a little experience, a little duck hunting and some deer hunting. So
yeah, she's duck hunting last weekend. She'll be deer hunting this weekend. So
that's awesome. I love that.
She's becoming a country girl.
Well, enjoy, man, and look forward to seeing you all next week as we resume our schedule back on next Friday. Hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy the time with family. Take care. And Sean, we'll see you next time.
All right. See ya.
All right. Good stuff. Cool, man.